Okay, I'm honored. I'm honored to. Okay, so first of all, welcome everybody. Um, yeah. So first of all, I want to acknowledge tonight's sponsor. Um, Hold on, it's on my phone, but it keeps jumping away. Okay. Oh, so today's learning, all the learning programs. I guess today, I assume it means last night too. Today's learning programs have been sponsored by my dear cousins Uri and Dvar. Le'ilu Nishmas. Le'ilu Nishmas. Dvorah's parents, Chaya Shendo Bas Yehuda, and Arya, whose yahrzeit is this Shabbos. Well, and Aryeh ben Avram, of course, my good friend, and who passed away recently. May the neshamas have aliyas. May be melitzim yaisha for your beautiful mishpacha. May you continue, I'm sure, to give them tons and tons of nachas, and may we share a lot of simchas together. And that's really, really wonderful. And I want to thank you, and thank you for allowing our relationship to flourish and our friendship to deepen and working together. And I look forward to many, many simchas and gesund and arichas yam v'shanim, and we should be able to share for a long time to come. And also tomorrow morning, I guess the daf, we'll mention that, is Josh and Sapara Gamza, my good friend, my good friend of Josh, who abandoned us, but we know what he went to his children, and we forgive you, and we love you, and in memory of his father, Mashallah ben David, may his neshama have an aliyah, and may we be zeicha to share many simchas from close and from far, and may we see each other hopefully soon in Mitzvah Hashem. Okay, so I want to talk today, share a little personal. I woke up this morning, I must say, I was actually in a bad mood. I couldn't figure it out. I was just, maybe it was a fitful sleep, I don't know. And I was like down. I felt down. I couldn't figure out what was it. I mean, Baruch Hashem, I've been healthy, and my family's been healthy. My children, my grandchildren, my mother, Chazdei Hashem, may she continue to be healthy. And, Baruch Hashem, I have a chance to continue doing my Daf Yomi, and even more than I normally do. Every day I get a chance to have such a wonderful audience of people who want to hear Divrei Chizuk. But of course, it's lonely, and I was trying to figure out what is it, why is it bothering me, and I realized what it was, and maybe we all share it, maybe we all feel this to a certain extent. I assume, like we used to, especially us, the way we grew up, at least most of us, life has solutions. You wait and you have expectations, you hope, and you want something to happen. You expect sooner or later it's going to happen, but as time goes on, you realize it's not happening. And when you start reading the news and you read that, it's not so clear how soon and what form it'll take, even when they do open up. And like this may be a long journey for us, and hopefully not years or months or years, but who knows? It's an unknown, and every day it's another disappointment. And that's, I think, what was bothering me. I started to really make a cheshbon nefesh, and it's understandable. And I can only imagine what it's like when you have a household of kids. Baruch Hashem, I don't have to deal with that, but if you have to deal with those kids day in, day out, of course, I'm sure you deepen your love for them. But the challenges of all the home learning and the online learning it's really, and I can imagine waiting for a solution to come and nothing's happening, and maybe that's it. So I was thinking, I said, what's the solution? We don't know what's going to be. So how do you get out of it? It's just amuna, you accept it, and that's it. So on the same day, a news item that has been captivating me from already 8 months ago, and I've been following it. A marvelous family that suffered a terrible tragedy 8 months ago. The Schnurb family from Eretz Yisrael. Their daughter Rina, 17-year-old, beautiful, wonderful, charming, vivacious, gracious, and all the things that you want in a child. Her and a father and a brother were going on a hike in Mayan Dolev, in Dolev Spring, and they were murdered while hiking. Well, she was hiking with her father and brother. They were in a Mayan, they were going to go swimming, and she was murdered. And it was a terrible tragedy, a wonderful family. The family is involved in chesed and teaching Torah. Father is wonderful, and you look at the interviews, even from the day that the daughter was murdered, and she actually it was a bomb, so she actually is the first one, and she sort of saved. Even though they both ended up, they all three ended up in the hospital. The brother and the father ended up in the hospital. She died, and that was a tragedy. But what was interesting is that just now, 8 months later, the mother gave birth last week to her 12th child. Child. This is within the year, 8 months, and actually they describe. You listen to the interviews. The husband and wife were interviewed, and they discovered that she was pregnant. That Rina's mother, Hashem Yikon Dama, her mother was pregnant during the Shiva. That's when they found out. They found out, and she writes, we found out about the pregnancy during the Shiva, and the Rabbi Schnurb says, he said on an interview, he says, and this is in the middle of Shiva after losing a 17-year-old charming girl full of a bright future, loving parents, loving daughter. And he said, and it helped us heal. And he said, God is healing us. That's what he said at the time when they found out. And eventually, when the baby was born last week, they also said when the baby was born. So the father said, these are his words. I mean, this is exact words. It's just, and I'll tell you what I drew from it. He says, Kayamar Hashem, so has God spoken. Shamati es tfilascha. I hear Hashem telling me, I hear your tefillas. Ra'isi es dimatcha. I see your tears. Hineni roifei I'm giving you a cure. B'simcha gedola v'hida atzuma. This is what he wrote in a message to his friends. L'Hashem shanu smeichim levaser aleidas beiteinu. Loi hanatzim. He wanted to notify the birth of a daughter. The Nazis, Yimach Shemam, not the terrorists, the cursed terrorists will be victorious of us. We will continue to live with Emunah, with great Emunah, and bring new life into the world. That's what the birth notice. And they had asked the couple, it's marvelous. It's just, there are people who are living on this earth. We understand why humans are greater than Malachim. And they asked them when the baby was born in the delivery room if they would name the baby after their daughter Rina. Listen to his answer. He said, no way. What, should we have two daughters named Rina? She did leave us in body, but the feeling is that she is still with us. If anyone has an idea for a name, we're happy to hear it, but we have a daughter Rina, whether she's here physically or not. You don't need two daughters with the same name. Just so marvelous how they were able to focus and really get that sense of, living in the moment. And he said, like he said, there was a victory. They sensed this as a victory. And then finally, just today, and this all took place. The parents, the Rabbi Eitan and his wife, Shira, are both children of Holocaust survivors. So, I think the baby was born around Yom HaShoah, and the name was given on Yom HaTzmaut and through Yom HaZikaron, and it's just an amazing. And what name did they give it? And sort of fits in with the Sphira, because tonight is the last. Today it was the last day, or tonight, and we're in the middle of the week of Tiferes. And they decided they can give the name Tiferes. Glory, beauty. It means, Tiferet means beautiful, just harmony. And this is what he said. I'm going to read you the word in Hebrew because it's more powerful in Hebrew. He says, Barina Yitpa'ar Shimcha, on a play on her name. Barina, he wrote in a message, and he wrote a message to his family. He says, Barina Yitpa'ar Shimcha. With Rina, double entendre, both Rina, her memory of Rina, and with joy and song, I beautify your name. B'chazei Hashem, me'oz haretzach anachnu zochim, from the time that a child was murdered. Zochim lirot, we're merit to see. Eich mitpa'er shmo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how the name of God has been glorified. Mikoach ha'achdus, perforce the unity, ha'chesed, the kindness, ha'torah, avas eretz Yisrael, ha'avas eretz, the triangle of Kutra Brich of Yisrael ve'eraisa, Shabaruch Hashem, Godal v'hoyleich ma'od. That's what they see in this. And he says, Tiferet hu kinu l'HaKadosh Baruch Hashem is referred to Tiferet Shimcha. La'am Yisrael, it's a name for Klal Yisrael, it's a name for Torah. Hachut HaMashulosh, this triplicate thread, Lo b'meheri yenotak, that will never be untied. Tiferet is the mid of Yaakov Avinu. Hamatzayin shlemut, perfection. Shekol Yilodov, that all his children, holchu b'derech Hashem, they go in the way of Hashem. Tiferet, as we spoke this whole week, hashiluv, between chesed, absolute chesed, a family that was engaged in chesed, they have a mifal chesed, they do chesed, that's what the family is involved in. Ugvura, and tremendous self-discipline and strength, even in the face of almost impossible challenges. Tiferet betanach, he says, mofia b'psukim rabim. Many of the psukim, Tiferet is in context kechelek mitiur shel geulat Yisrael, of the redemption. But tfilat legula shleim, as Hashem is and he prays that should be a gula shlema. And this is what came. So I was thinking, and the message I got from it is that you know why we get frustrated, we feel restless, because we expect things to work out the way we want to, and we forget to live in the moment. We forget to cherish what's going on in front of us. And even when you're in the middle of a tragedy, to be able to absorb with the level that he absorbed and expressed the discovery shortly later during the Shiva of his wife being pregnant, and the joy, not just simply see it as a Yad Hashem, and then to go through life and see during that difficult time and the birth of the child and the naming of the child as merely an expression of all the goodness that they've experienced, despite the Gehenna they've been living through, having lost this cherished daughter. I advise you to look online. You can look on Eretz Sheva in English, Hebrew, a lot of beautiful interviews with the parents. If you need a Musa Sefer about what it means to live in the moment and to cherish the moment and to cherish the fact that you're alive and we're living the ideal, the dream, the hope of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and our people and the Torah, and it doesn't stop. And every day is another kag, another day to live and to appreciate, despite the disappointments that we have in the past or the dashed hopes. I'm sure they had hoped for this daughter to bring them nachas and children and grandchildren, but that wasn't to be. But they relish, they live with her every day, even though she's not here b'guf, to be able to live in the moment. I saw a beautiful thought. This is what I want to share with you. It's a fellow I knew from Hanof. He writes many svarim, and he's a big mechanech. He taught in Rabbi Yeshiva Marova. I think he still teaches there. His name is Hadar Magolin. Really exuberant guy. He lives what he preaches, and he wrote many svarim. In one of his svarim, he writes that we say every day. We say Kol HaNeshamot Ta'alilka. Every neshama should praise you, Hashem. And the Gemara says, Al Kol Neshima Uneshima Ta'alilka. On every breath that we take, we should give thanks to Hashem. Stam, it's an interesting thing to think about, because if you spoke to anyone, especially those who really suffered from COVID and survived, it's about taking away their breath and the appreciation of every single breath that you can take without struggle, and to be able to take a deep breath without coughing, violent cough, and to be able to breathe. Every neshima is a blessing from Hashem. It's a new lease on life, every breath we take. And he says, okay, so if we want to say Al Kol Neshima, that's what it's about. So why do you say Kol Neshama? I call her Neshama Talka. Neshama is a Neshama, Neshima is a Neshima. And he said, because the message is every second of life is a new life to appreciate. No matter how bad the past is, how bleak the future might be, we have no idea. But it's living in the moment. It's to be able to live Al Kol Neshima Neshima, to express thanks to Hashem, even on something, even the great, be conscious and mindfulness of every breath we take is a neshama. Every moment we live, every experience we have to get through the day, regardless of what tomorrow may bring, is the chayim that we're talking about, is a victory. Over our enemies is a victory. That's what it all represents. I saw there was a woman, a famous woman who passed away. She comes from a famous family from Muncie, the Gertzlin family. I know some children. And there was a woman in her 80s. I'm not sure. I think she may have died from COVID. I'm not sure. And she died before Pesach. And they write a story about her. She had lost a husband 2 years before. And she was, at the time, she was suffering from Parkinson's. And she was in a wheelchair. And during the time her husband died, she also lost her eyesight. Her grandson was at her home taking care of her, and he asked her how it feels to lose her eyesight. And her answer was very inspiring. She said, a person's job in this world, she said, is to find their tafkid, your purpose. And that tafkid is who they really are, When you define what your tafkid is, that's who you are. When my feet were working, I thought that mobility was part of who I am. But then I lost that ability. I realized that my essence is something greater than walking. When I had my vision, I thought that seeing was part of me. When I lost that ability, I realized that my tafkid and I do not include seeing. Many of us fail to accept our very selves because we think that if we had different circumstances, we would be able to accomplish greater things. We would realize that our tafkid only includes the extent of our ability at any given moment, at any given day, regardless of what has happened or what will happen. We could accomplish much more because we would be focused more on our abilities and our disabilities, our gifts rather than our lacks. And that's the lesson in today's Tiferet Sheva Malchus. It's to take the world of giving and the world of self-discipline and merge the two, the Tiferes of being an Eved Hashem, and create that into a Malchus, into a magnificent nobility. Malchus is nobility, to live with that nobility of spirit. If you live with that, then you never wake up disappointed, even if the forecasters tell us it's bleak. It's irrelevant. I often think back. My parents, Baruch Hashem, were born in America. My grandparents came over, shortly after World War I, before World War II. And but I had many relatives who were Holocaust survivors. And of course, many of them suffered from different traumas and things like that. But one thing I noticed about many of them is that they lived with a certain richness of the moment, the appreciation of a child, of a simcha, or even simple I remember we used to go visit one of my relatives when we used to walk for Tashlich in Prospect Park in Crown Heights, and we stopped off with one of my relatives who both, the husband and wife, were both Holocaust survivors. And just I remember as a kid, realized how rich their appreciation was for the moment. Because people who lived through times where they didn't know what the next day was going to bring. And the next day often brought death and destruction and illness and who's knows, but obviously they survived. And during those years, they learned that who knows what the next day is. They learned to appreciate Al-Kol Neshima. And that's how they lived their life. And they took that lesson with them. So we have an opportunity. We're here to obviously refine ourselves. That's what it's all about. Hashem sends us in the shyness, and we should learn a lesson from these magnificent families and remarkable people. We too are remarkable. We too can live in every moment. Every time we get up in the morning, we could daven, we can learn. We're breathing. There's something to appreciate. We have a tafkid, whether we have sight, we have ability, or we don't have it. Whatever it is, Hashem at that moment is with us. I'll call Neshima, because in that Neshima is who you are, is your Neshama. Call HaNeshama T'Chalaka. May we gain a great appreciation for every moment of our lives. It'll transform us, and we'll take that with us, Mit Hashem, when hopefully it'll be end, and we'll be able to live much richer lives, deeper lives, with greener and echo the words of Rabbi Eitan Shnerb, Barino Yisvar Hashemcha, with joy and song, we should glorify your name every second of our life. And that's my message for today. So let me just open up the